Good to see you again. So glad you've come here to join us. Really an honor, as always. Welcome to the Love Tribe Satsang. We are Lucid Love. It's such an honor to hold you in our heart with us tonight. You are the blessing, you are the light. Unity is the way. Let us enter the circle and begin. Welcome back, dear family, to the Circle of Unity. Let us start with the heart's message. To open the door to enlightenment, drop the rock altogether. Become again as a child. Release attachments, grudges, judgements, becoming again loving of all that is. We have a short story to share that will help the heart communicate the message for tonight's satsang. The dance of equanimity, finding balance in all things. In a small village nestled in the mountains, there was a wise monk. He was known throughout the land for his teachings on the path to enlightenment, and many would travel great distances to seek his guidance. One day, a young woman came to the monk with a troubled heart. She had recently lost her husband and was struggling to find peace in her grief. The Master monk, she said, "How can I find balance in my life once again?" The monk replied, "My dear, the path to equanimity begins with acceptance. Accept that all things in life are impermanent and that change is inevitable. Do not resist what has already passed, for it will only cause you further suffering." The young woman nodded, understanding his words, but still feeling uncertain about how to achieve this acceptance. The monk knew he needed to offer her a more tangible way to find balance. So he instructed her to find a large rock and carry it with her everywhere she went for the next week. At first, the woman was confused by the task, but followed his instructions nonetheless. As she carried the heavy rock, she began to notice how much harder it was to complete her daily tasks. She struggled to walk, to cook, and to clean, and soon found herself exhausted by the weight of the rock. But as the week went on, something began to change within her. She realized that she had been resisting the weight of the rock, fighting against it with every step. Once she accepted the rock's weight, she was able to carry it with ease, without struggling against it. On the 7th day, she returned to the monk, with the rock in her hand. "Master monk," she said, "I have carried this rock with me everywhere, as you instructed, but I do not understand the meaning behind this task." The monk smiled at her and said, "My dear, the rock represents the burdens we carry in our lives. When we resist the weight of these burdens, we suffer. But when we accept them and carry them with grace, we find peace, we find balance." The young woman bowed her head in understanding, grateful for the lesson the monk had taught her. From that day forward, she approached life with a newfound sense of equanimity, carrying her burdens with grace and finding balance in all things. And so, the story of the monk. The heart wishes to further this short story by saying not only are you able to learn to carry all your burdens with ease, that there is also a place in you which can drop the rock altogether. Instead of becoming a little enlightened or a little unburdened, you can forgive yourself and forgive all. You can love yourself and love all. One can drop the rock altogether and become completely unburdened. Now again, like the innocent child, completely and fully enlightened with the light of which we were all born. What a beautiful heart's message. We hope you hear it. Let us move into the question segment for tonight's circle. We have a strong list of questions this evening, 18 in total. Question 1. I want to change the world, yet I feel it is impossible. How can I make an impact? Hello, dear friend. We see you. We love you. Something we learned early in our incarnation is that the mission can never be about changing the world, for the world is perfect. Rather, making an impact, it isn't about changing the world. It isn't about helping better the world, for the world has nothing to change. nothing that we can change externally within it. And bettering the world honestly in all truth has nothing to do with anything but trying to change ourselves. The pathway to change is building yourself up and becoming the type of living life of beingness in which a new world is able to sprout in your light. We in truth are all evolving right on time. And we in the world are always shifting. The world is, and we are. Simply keep the heart open and stay balanced within the change while reminding yourself we are always getting better and better. You be the change you want to see in the world. Truly live it. Embody it. Embody that which you wish. Embody that which you wish to birth. And do not stray from it. And your touch, your smile, your loving glances will reveal. It will reveal that path to others. And they will want to know and feel what you have become. They will want to touch the place of peace that is you. For as you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And you must simply become the change you wish to look at. Be your best self. Shine your love everywhere you step. Love the world as it is and offer it a hand whenever it asks you. Yet never feel like you must change anything outside of you. Thank you for being here with us. May your light grow to shine like the sun. What are your thoughts on starseeds? We will stay away from opinions and simply share what we know is truth. The messages are certainly popular in some areas of consciousness, and we know that anything that helps bring humanity together for the purpose of serving and healing and love is perfectly beautiful no matter what form it takes. That is the purpose of our imagination, to connect with the divine, to bring unity back to the Garden of Eden. This said, we must state one critically important statement, and that is simply, we must be wary of separation. Whatever it is must not cause separation to be truly healing. What we mean by this is that anything that creates an us versus them scenario instead of a complete unity scenario is going to ultimately continue the circle of suffering by simply attaching the mind to a new name, new borders, new flags, with a dash of more sparkles. For starseeds to be a true movement of change that reduces suffering, it must unite. Meaning that it must not be that the starseeds have come to save the non-starseeds. This is the same story of the idol Christians have made of Christ, of which they call Jesus. It's not even his real name. That one is holy and the other needs saving is merely recycled dogma. It is the same as the statement, only Jesus can save, and if you do not have what we have, which is Jesus, you are condemned. Again, for a movement of new consciousness to truly heal the world, it must serve unity, not separation. Separating even the starseeds among themselves into different tribes of seeds of the star represents this. From this perspective, one can see that the positive message helps an individual in their evolution, yet it is still rooted in separation, which will always lead to suffering, and what will lead to what we call the spiritual ego. It is a little brighter than the body ego, certainly, but still an ego all the same. All are equal. None are separate. Either all are starseeds, or it is simply another dogmatic movement recycling suffering for another dance upon the same stage of separation. Please consider our words with an open heart, for we do not condemn the movement by any means. In fact, we have much love of the loving information and healing of this planet that is at the base of the movement. For ourselves, we navigate separation by knowing all are of love, all are innocent light. We like to visualize the innocent light of the newborn at the root of all we meet in our journey. and this immediately gives unification to all without exception. No gimmicks, no t-shirts, no tests to take, no separation, simply love, knowing love. Is it possible to communicate with non-human life? What a lovely question. Yes, of course. Absolutely. You may whistle loving tunes at the bluebird, pet the dog, swim with the fish, dance with an ant, purr with a cat, climb with a squirrel, buzz with a bee, or in the astral, visit temples infinite. To communicate with life, the only requirement is to be life, of which we all are. So dear friend, open your heart and fly with the eagles or swim with the dolphins. When you admit love is your truth, the knowing is recognized in you from all of life. Butterflies will land on you. Mosquitoes and flies will kiss you before receiving your offering of sustenance. All life feels safe in your presence and recognizes you as you recognize it. If you fear it, it fears you. If you love it, it loves you. Beautiful inquiry. Thank you. Can I find moksha without a guru? Apologize if we're not pronouncing that right. But we know of what you ask. We want to expand on the question and provide a little insight first. Firstly, this is likely a question rooted in Hinduism, and we would like to also add in Christianity. We only speak from places of which we are familiar in some senses, and of both of these we have some sense of familiarity. This question can also say, do I need Jesus to be saved? For Jesus Christ is to Christianity as Guru is to Hinduism. A Guru is one's connection to God, just as Christ is one's connection to God in Christianity. In Hinduism, many believe they need a Guru, or as Christianity would say, Christ, a connection to God to have moksha. Moksha is spiritual liberation, which Christianity equates to salvation. The simple answer to this question is yes, yes you can. Did the first yogi have a guru? Did the saints who awoke without a guru guide have gurus other than that one which lives in each of us? You do not need any external guidance to reach spiritual liberation. That said, there will always be some external guidance. Always. Unless, of course, you are a fully aware avatar of the Supreme from birth into a human body. For a guru is a pathway to expedite moksha, or salvation. It allows us to reach the place in us of unconditional love and release attachments much more quickly than we could ever do alone. Sometimes we are talking the difference between many lifetimes. If the guru is true, the path will be accelerated. However, many also stumble upon what is known as the false guru, which leads them down paths to chaos instead of liberation, separation instead of union. Be wary of anyone who tries to lead you down a path in which you are to become something they claim others cannot without them. The path of any true guru will always lead you to love, light, and to seek unity for all. For union is the Tao, the way. For example, there are few gurus or teachers of God in the Christian church world, not because they are not true to their beliefs, but simply because their beliefs lead to separation. They have been passed on controlled dogma used by nation creators, not God, not spirit, not love. For nation creators have waged many, many wars in the name of God. God has not and will never, ever endorse pain nor suffering in any way. This is a creation of ourselves and our choice of evolutionary pathways. Christ taught unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness. Christ was a true guru, one who tells you that you need to follow their instructions, one who believes one who tells you that you need to follow their instructions and condemn those who do not follow their instructions is not a true guru. Hear these words clearly. For one who believes they must save someone outside of themselves is the one who needs saving. For none are outside of theyself. So yes, you may find a path to moksha or salvation without an embodied guru, but you will still very much likely need a pathway built by disembodied gurus, or find yourself a true connection to spirit and build a new pathway. There are many pathways to the same destination. A true embodied guru will expedite your chosen pathway. Only your heart will be able to tell you whether you have found a true teacher of God, of love, of spirit, or whether you have not. Listen to your heart, for the heart knows all. Why is it so hard to find friends? This is a perspective indeed. We have held this perspective in our vessels past as well. For us, lack of what one considers friends has become literally impossible. For our friends, our family extends far and wide beyond the human vessel. We dance with roaches, we crawl with centipedes, we roll with worms, we sing with cicadas, we praise flowers with bees, we praise the sun with birds, we jump with grasshoppers and chirp with crickets, among many, many more. This said, we know exactly the space and feeling this question comes from. For we have had very few friends in our life journey, and have had none outside of biological birth family that have remained constant in any way, shape, or form until the last couple of years or so. For us, it has been karmic, a teaching, a training, in the sense that other souls in our relationships came to help us learn that relationships in themselves lead to suffering. We ask that you hear this with an open heart and mind. Relationships are created by us to support a special connection to individuals. It is rooted in separation, which is the root of fear of suffering and suffering. We essentially use our relationship with another to try and hold on to something in us that they bring out of us. In a loving relationship, it is often love that we use them for to bring out of us. In truth, the love is always in there, but we are not taught to catalyze it by loving everyone and everything. We are taught to issue love to certain people and not to others. Examples of friendships and examples are friendships and biological family. We separate friends from not friends and family from not family, and in truth, everyone is everything. Relationships such as friendship insinuate that you have a connection with one person that you do not have with another. So walls are built up, and the others are not allowed into those walls. One may have a friendship based on their skin pigment as their connecting factor, making those of other skin pigment not their friends. It could also be something like sexual orientation, or it may be attachments or likes, such as sports or book reading, or perhaps going to the bars on weekend. This connection becomes special to us because we feel special to someone, and they to us because they resonate with our attachments. And those who do not resonate with our attachments become the others. In this type of relationship, people now behave in a way they believe will keep the relationship held together. It becomes a special agreement. If this agreement is broken, both parties suffer. For example, the drinking on the weekend. If you have a friend who is a drinking companion, and you choose to stop drinking, it will cause them to issue judgment on you, or you will issue judgment in return. Judgment leads to the suffering and separation, as well as relationships. Hear this again. Judgment leads to suffering and separation, as well does relationships. In the sense of how they are in this present time, typically. You are now not in each other's circle because the special attribute you shared is no longer shared. Now there again, both suffer due to judgment, attachment, and separation. This occurs in all special relationships to some extent, including marriages, friendships, religionships, business partnerships, and so forth. Just try to tell your pastor that you're now Buddhist or Scientologist instead of Christian. Try to tell your marriage partner that you did something they detest, and you will feel the separation and judgment. The only way this does not occur is if those involved in relationships love without condition. They have no attachments or aversions and choose to love all regardless of the impact it has. They may choose to not hold you in the same type of relationship, but they do not issue judgment nor condemn you. They will simply release you to be you. This is the best type of friend and family you can find if you must have a relationship, a special relationship. If you must be in a relationship, try to build it from the foundation of unconditional love and acceptance and make sure it goes in both directions. The ultimate point here is that relationships, as most know them, are declarations of separation. To heal, the desire to be special and have others not be special, to have friends and have others not be friends, simply permit everyone and everything to be special to you, including yourself. Everyone you meet, genuinely be with them in that moment. Love them, appreciate them for their wonderful manifestation of spiritual energy. Release judgment, and remember all life has personality to love and admire. A tree can be your friend just as easily as Joe or Tupac or Sarah or Muhammad. Or a mosquito. The ants as much as grandma. And when you release separation, you are a being of the world, not confined to borders, flags, dogma. Everyone and everything is friend and family. It is only one flip of the channel of perspective, and friends are everywhere and easy to find. We understand this has been a long-winded way to say, love yourself and extend that love to all, and friends and family are all. Why are some people so mean? Why are some people so mean? This is a relative question that is also a perspective. One can find a place in them where what is considered mean rolls off of yourself like rain on a window. A place where nothing can touch you. One knows they have nothing to do with anything outside of themselves, only that which they hold internally. There are beings in the world that could take a dagger to the heart from another and still look at them with total compassion and love. For the one issuing the pain does not realize that pain can only be inflicted on self. These beings that can look with compassion while the body is being destroyed or nailed to a cross. These beings know the body is but an avatar for the eternal light that can never be dimmed. Let's come down from such a place, for it is not easily accessible to where we are now. Why are some people so mean? Is a nurture versus nature inquiry within the massive stage known as evolution. Evolution is the journey from animalistic being to divine being. It is a very tough pathway for evolution. To grow through the teaching of ignorance and separation is nothing to scoff at by any within all the realms of being. Yet it is ultimately one of the most beautiful, because each one without exception eventually will find their divinity. It is guaranteed and supported by all life. All of life which offers itself for the continuing evolution. In regard to what one calls mean, the collective mind will reach and is reaching a breaking point, a tipping point rather, in which the collective mind will acknowledge that ignorance and suffering is created by separation. The collective mind of which individuals share is getting closer every day to a place to be healed from the pain, from the trauma, from the suffering, as it realizes unity and equality for all of life is the solution. Just as the lotus grows up through the darkness and reaches up through the murky waters, finding more warmth and peace the higher it reaches, until eventually it basks in the love of union with the sun. We travel by ways of darkness and pain through our evolution, in which we release more and more, forgiving more and more, coming together in love more and more, until we reach a place where we become one love, one people, one world, whom have released the illusion of borders and flags and colors and languages. For there is only one true universal language, and that is love. As one people, we will support all, we will shelter all, we will love and accept all for their beautifully wonderful individuality, which adds to the grand fireworks show that is all of us united. For individuality in itself is not at fault. It is the using of it to attack other individuality that is an illusion. For we are many and we are different, yet we are all the same. We are moving more quickly each day. We have already come so very far on the path of darkness to light, from hate to love, and more are opening their hearts today than they were 1,000 years ago and 1,000 years before that. As we continue to evolve, our capacity continues to unfold, and we release suffering while picking up light and love. Thank you for the question. Blessings. How do I awaken? Awakening is essentially the process of becoming more aware. It is a remembrance of home, of the Garden of Eden, of remembering earth as heaven, remembering all the loved ones that journey upon this sonship with us, from the worm to the eagle, from the baby to the elder. Awakening is to feel more fully, to become more present, and shifting more towards unity and love. The pathway to awaken is often severe suffering. Again, this is our evolutionary pathway. In the present age, which we will eventually release as we find our unity, it is to hurt so much you cannot handle it anymore, and you start to seek ways to be better, to feel better, to help others feel better. Unfortunately, the heart often closes when this suffering occurs, and many often do not wish to face and feel that pain again, so they keep it closed. So instead of seeking ways to remain open and heal and help others not suffer as they did, they build walls to protect their already closed heart and do all they can to control life to prevent themselves from knowing that deep level of suffering again. All the while, they try to keep giving it away by trying to give it to others like a virus of hate. Yet it can never be given away, and it only leads to another building walls to try to defend against what cannot be given. Hate can only be received if one chooses to receive it. It cannot be given away, but it can be dropped and let go. It cannot be given away, but it can be shared, meaning you're not giving it away to somebody and they receive it and take it from you. Now you both have it, like a virus of hate. But it can be dropped and let go. Stabbing another with hurtful, hateful words does not get rid of the pain and suffering inside. It simply keeps it cooking on the stovetop. The rock must be dropped altogether to release suffering in totality. Hear the heart's message. To awake is to keep your heart open in what many think is hell, because they have forgotten heaven. In awakening, one remembers heaven, and with consistency, it is all they see no matter where they look or stand. We live from a place where we have pondered all the suffering of the world, and know it all is illusion and releasable. If there is one promise we make to you, It is that no matter what you have experienced, what you hold, or what you feel, heaven is always right here waiting for you to drop the rock of burden and remember our innocence. Keeping your heart open, loving yourself, forgiving yourself, keeping an open mind, and being a seeker of truth. This is the way. Be truthful in all that you do. Drop the burden of lies. Drop the burden of anything that you hold that brings you suffering. Simply be your best self in love and light. And as you walk this path of light, love, forgiveness, peaceful, truthfulness, you are walking the path of the awakened seeker, which will inevitably transform into the path of the awakened divine. And more are walking this path. We complete what we chose to come here to complete as we walk this path, in our learning, in our evolution. And that is the newest rebirth of heaven. Thank you. Blessings. My family is religious. My family is religious. I am expected to be the same, but I know I am not. It doesn't feel right. What do I do? This will be a relatively short answer, but it will be straightforward. We will never tell you what to do, for it is not our path to walk. We can, however, share what we would do. We personally would share our truth and love, allowing our family to accept us as we are, and if they did not, we would release them from any grudges, forgiving and loving them regardless. We have learned that being ourselves and honest about who we are is much more freeing than pretending to be something we are not. Who you are in truth and love will always have family. It will always be enough. You are loved. How can I help the world heal? How can I help the world heal? Ultimately, the world does not need healing. For the world is perfectly loving. For do you see trees which fight amongst themselves? The world is eternal. For you, have you ever seen a dead world? Have you ever lived upon a dead world? It could never be so. The world is able to bounce back from all that which is afflicted upon it in ignorance. It is the mind which needs healing. The collective consciousness which needs reconciliation, release, and healing love. It needs healing from the illusion of a past carried for far longer than it ever should have been. We even put fail-safes of short lifespans in place until we were able to transcend the carrying of burdens and pain. This is the entire point of joyful eternal creation, to not attach to the past, to not hold on to anything from before, that is what opens up the infinite pathways ahead. For example, the mind, the collective consciousness carries pains and condemns life in the present for actions committed millennia ago. Religious wars are still being pushed forward to children generation after generation that arrive with no hate or desire for pain nor suffering. They have had and have nothing to do with the original conflict, yet those who are unable to release it in forgiveness, they keep spreading the virus of hate. The highest gift anyone is able to offer in our world, in the perspective of healing, is forgiveness and release to become anew. The way to help the world heal is forgiveness and release. The dropping of the rock, releasing condemnation, and remembering innocence. One must forgive themselves before they can truly forgive another. That's really important. Hear that. One must forgive themselves before they can truly forgive another. For one cannot give what they have not received. Forgive yourself, love yourself, and spread that space of being to all you can in your incarnation, and you will be healing the world where it needs it the most. Why is it so difficult to release addiction? We hear you, we see you, we know you. We have personally experienced addiction in nearly every form possible in this incarnation. lust, cigarettes, pills, alcohol, illicit drugs, TV, all levels of objectification. In the place we are now, we hold none. It is beautifully blissful and available to all. Yet for each of us, we have a need to walk the road ourselves. None can walk it for us. We personally will still indulge in some of the experiences that life offers, yet we do it without attachment and objectify nothing. What we label addictions are innocent in themselves. They are not bad nor good. It is often a labeling of them as negative that leads to the conflict within us that caused the gripping in the first place. The shame we give ourselves in their experience. Each addiction has nuances, of course, yet at a universal level, only things which have been labeled negative are addictions. Would you not agree? For example, someone who compulsively runs long distances to the detriment of their body, tearing muscles, splinting shins, and is 1% fat is not considered an addict. Yet one who takes pills or does illicit drugs, allowing their muscles to go into dystrophy, becoming 1% body fat, essentially skin and bones, is called an addict. We attach ourselves to that which the mind uses to connect to wholeness or find peace or love within. One can be addicted to exercising, sleeping, eating, and it is typically only an addiction if it is labeled negative or done in excess past normal expected capacity. Many consider cigarettes negative. So someone quits 1,000 times in their one lifetime because they are so conflicted with themselves. They never truly allow themselves to explore the experience without judgment, except for the first time they tried it. The first time with anything, we are fully there with it, like driving a car. Yet over time we hold on to all our experiences of driving that car, and it becomes automatic or habitual. One must drop the rock here again. If one could allow themselves to explore the experience, if one could explore experience without judgment and bringing in collective judgment, simply dropping all of that nonsense, to not be pushed and pulled, if one could be fully aware, they would be able to truly experience what is occurring instead of all the thoughts layered over the experience itself. One, instead of experiencing the cigarette as it is, or driving the car as it is experiencing all the past experiences attached to it, all the interactions they've had about it, and so forth. If we as a society did not condemn such things, if we talked about it more openly, they would be much less prevalent. For example, sex has been an object of suppression in many. Some issue judgment upon sex, saying if one is not married and following through their rule book, that they will burn eternally. Nonsense. Never allow someone to give you such nonsense. There is no eternal burning. Drop the rock. While holding the rock, one hides in the closet. One locks the door to masturbate behind walls and objectifying life, feeling shamed or guilty if they are found to be doing this action. Sex is natural. Suppression is unnatural. If it were not shamed and suppressed, porn sites and what we know as rape would dissolve entirely, not because it would be widespread sex everywhere, simply because our thinking about it would be different. Yet we as a society fester... We as a society suppress. We as individuals suppress. We don't communicate. We stay quiet within our walls, allowing our shame and guilt to grow. Keeping them hidden behind the mask society asks us to wear. We hide our hands when exchanging money for drugs, both of which can be considered addictive. And we wear this mask so we are accepted and not shamed, accepted instead of rejected, to be welcomed outside of the walls we have built around ourselves. To release addiction, we must release judgment. Be with your addiction. Love it. See it as it is. And in the awareness of love, you will see more clearly what it is, why it is, how it has hooked you, and if you should release it or not in true loving awareness. Totality with experience in the moment is a pathway applicable to all addictions. One step back and see, Take a step back and see yourself in third person as the body completes the action. Witness the thoughts going through the mind during the experience and in reality, not filtering it through others' eyes and thoughts. Awareness led us to transfiguration practices which help us release objectification entirely. We still partake in experiences one labels addictive, with the exception of porn and many illicit drugs that are no longer in our life. Yet we know if we did, we would not pick them up again as we have in the past. For where we are, we find no desire to use images or other items to ignite our imagination. Our imagination is full. We do not attach ourselves to stigma or judgment. And each experience is released as easily as it is picked up. We do not carry it into everything we do with condemnation, shame, nor guilt. Drop the rock, become more aware, love the experience, and see it for what it is. This allows addiction to become non-addictive. A good example is cigarettes. When one releases all the conflict within, they can truly see how it makes them feel and whether this is fruitful to them or not. We found it to really not. Addiction is a major teaching in itself. Excuse us. The teachings of addiction. As we see it, addiction has two main lessons. Excuse us again. The first teaching addiction offers is understanding of the suffering of separation and objectification. For example, a cigarette smoker without cigarettes wanting a cigarette seeks for a smoker to obtain a cigarette, or a store to purchase cigarettes. Everyone becomes a smoker or a non-smoker. Every building becomes a cigarette seller or a non-cigarette seller. When interacting with another one, only what it is seen is whether the object of that person will move them closer to their desire or not. The same can apply to any addiction. Someone addicted to lust sees objects that are makeable or not makeable. Other fully fledged universes of which eternal life is within is reduced to whether or not they are able to be sexed or not sexed. Life becomes objects, seeing them for what they can offer for desire, individual desire, not at all for what they are. This is a difficult lesson to accept and release, but it can be transformed. The second teaching is the utilization of something outside of ourselves to find well-being or wholeness within ourselves, such as cigarettes to allow us to be more mellow, a drink to be able to allow us to be around others, illicit drugs to touch the realms of the astral even. All of these states are within us, and what is called addiction, the addiction, is simply our permission slip to visit these places within us. We are addicted to the places within us that these external items allow us to touch within ourselves. We are addicted to mellowness, to release of emotion, to adventure into new territory. These are all in us, and when we use objects to reach them, we begin to believe that we cannot get there without the object. The same is when we use another human being to reach love in ourselves. We get attached or addicted to that person because they let us touch the love inside of us, and without them we feel like we cannot touch that place again. When we are birthed into separateness of the physical experience, when we are birthed into separateness of the physical experience, at birth we still hold a remembrance of what unity is, of which our light comes from. All things, everything we consider addiction, are ultimately a way to supersede separateness and return to that state of unity, if only for a small moment. They provide us with a pathway to get high and drop the rock of burden for a moment. They allow us to release past experiences, our sufferings, and fly with the sun in bliss, if only for a moment. Yet when we use external supports to go up, we will always come back down and find our rock again. The truest and fullest way to release addictions is to leave the rock and baggage and judgments and hate and fear and so forth behind, and to fly to the sun in love without them. Why, no matter what I do I think about and end up looking at porn? We want to thank Flo of the Love Tribe for answering this very well in advance. We will ask our gurus to expand upon it. Why, no matter what I do I think about and end up looking at porn? This is also kind of a continuation of our last question around addiction. It's mostly due to the primal instinct that expansion and multiplication of life has instilled deep in the collective consciousness. For an evolution, the continuation of life must be pleasurable and appealing. And that's at the root of the appealing of wanting the union. The reward of sex and continuation of life is that orgasm, which is, for a moment during that orgasm between two partners, an experience of union. Getting back to that we know which we came from. Secondly, societal conditioning. In America, at least for us, I am unsure in other areas, as America has been our learning pathway, it is peddled to us as one of the highest experiences, while also being peddled to us as a sin. Sex is divine. There is no such thing as sinning. This is fear and a control tactic that is rooted in separation. There is a difference between divine values and religious sin. The cause, it leads to massive tears in our being, pulling us in opposite directions, as in our hearts we know it is divine communion. Yet many tell us it is shameful and give us guilt for it. Often when we fulfill this desire, we then condemn ourselves shortly after. It's not even enjoyed except for that short moment up until the experience of the orgasm or union, and then we immediately start to condemn ourselves again. This could be applicable to porn and to sex, depending on the structures of condition given to us. If we have been told non-marital sex is a sin, then we will condemn ourselves if we believe it. In truth, the structure of marriage is something, we're going to go down a little bit of a pathway, but in truth, the structure of marriage is something we encourage some to ask us about in a future satsang, as there is much rooted in that which desires to be released. True union of the spirit for an incarnation is a beautiful experience beyond what we know as marriages, but most marriages are defense tactics to prevent the heart from opening fully or being closed again fully. Marriage as we know it is rooted in separation. How else could first marriages lead to nearly half of them ending in divorce? And the ones that do not find themselves suffering are extraordinarily blessed, but the ones that do not divorce often still find themselves suffering, staying together for the kids or whatever it might be. They are literally business contracts under the guise of spiritual commitment. You be who I expect you to be, and I will be who you expect me to be, and we walk through that path of expectation, our specialness, and if we falter, we'll condemn each other. This does not allow room for unconditional love to birth unless some suffering is experienced while walking the path and mutually carried by both there and understood. That said, there are some truly divine communions within this structure, but the structure itself is a defense tactic often. In unity, there is no need for defense. There is no need to have a business contract to protect yourself from losing love, because it is all you have. It is all you are. It cannot be lost. Let's pivot from marriage. Porn. Sex is one of the highest experiences of the physical incarnation. allowing one within separation to find union for a short time in their mutual orgasm. Yet it is not the highest experience. That it is highest experience is an illusion, likewise as sin is illusion. True union is the highest. As is shame and guilt an illusion issued to us courtesy of dogma. None of us came here to be shamed nor guilted. We came here to partake in eternally joyful expansion within a temporary vessel that houses our light, of which we create more because that is where we find joy. Release the attachment and conditioning and you will remember this truth, that we are in heaven, that we are birthed into heaven. And that it is in physical creation that it could only ever be. And that sin, that shame, that guilt is simply part of the evolution of which generations in the future will never know because we dropped the rock for them here and now. A pathway that allowed us to heal separation while also allowing us to release objectification is transfiguration, essentially seeing all of life as light. We will share a practice in the link for transfiguration practice in the video description, which will essentially help one override the conditioning with intentional practice. Yet, of course, one is still the one who must put forth the effort to evolve. Evolution is available to all who are ready to release suffering and find unity. If one is not ready, no worries. Heaven's release will always be waiting for you. Take as many incarnations as you desire. It's your learning path. It's what it's here for. Yet once you know it is available, it is ultimately inevitable. For the seeker will always find the truth. For as the Buddha once said, how rare it is to find yourself in a human incarnation. How much more rare it is to know of the spiritual path, and how much more rare than that it is to actually walk the path. But for one who knows of the path will end up walking it. It is inevitable, for the seeker always finds the truth. Typically, when it comes to porn, unless someone is becoming more aware and feels guilty that they are moving towards it, they only feel guilt after the orgasm, after that desire within them is fulfilled. This is because the orgasm allows them to experience unity for a moment. It is natural that they are pulled to it. Of course, it's suppressed, actually suppressed. The objectification of porn is suppressed instead of shared. Yet, that orgasm is still a short moment in which they forget all that they carry in the explosion of ecstasy. Just like with addictions, which porn is in this question it is bringing you to orgasm, to union, which is a moment of forgetting separateness, being in unity. If it is only for a brief moment, and when it passes you come back down into your separateness, which causes guilt and shame, picking back up your rock. When this is released entirely, when living from a place of beingness, lovingness, the guilt and shame does not exist. In a nutshell, one is looking at porn because there is something in them that seeks unity, seeks to drop the rock of burden, to be at peace if only for a moment. It is the conditioned mind that keeps pulling one out of that place. When the rock is dropped entirely, the orgasm state, which we are all seeking in the addictions of porn or whatever it might be, which we call unity, which we know is lack of negative emotion, becomes continuous. Hopefully that answer was able to expand more upon Flo's share. Thank you for your inquiry. I wish I could hit the reset button on my brain. Any advice? Firstly, we wish to state that the purpose of such short incarnations in our present evolution is the release of the body, that the release of the body permits the recycling of individual mind in its attachments, its aversions, and ensures we evolve rather than get stuck in endless cycles of the same thinking processes. Yet due to ignorance, We still collect things and give it to the innocent ones that have come back without those attachments, because we have forgotten our innocence in the carrying of what was given to us the same way we were given it to the child. From this evolutionary perspective of consciousness, reset is guaranteed, so do not worry, it will come. It is inevitable. Now, to further this, if you wish to reset your mind without dropping the body, in this present incarnation, it requires an open heart, an open mind, and a desire to shift and return to the innocence you came here with and still have within you. In our present evolutionary path, it is often first required to suffer, and then after suffering, because if one is not truly ready to release the attachments causing the suffering of separation, back to the boiling pot one goes, and can continue to go and go until they are cooked and ready to get on with the inner work, to really get on with it. If one is truly ready, one will find the way. Teachers arrive and pathways open. We personally recommend the 8-limbed wheel of yoga as a pathway to release separation that we have personally verified in our incarnation. One limb at a time, and it must be completed one limb at a time, one step at a time. They must be completed truly, starting with the yama, the nim-yamas. These are foundations of building a place for unconditional love to sprout, essentially. They include things such as nonviolence, truthfulness, non-stealing, release of greed, purity, self-study, surrender. Starting there and moving one step, one limb at a time, one will find peace. Find the reset button, press it, and a new blank slate of pure love will be found in this incarnation. This is something you can verify for yourself if you walk the pathway with sincerity and honesty. That said, we would love for anyone in the Love Tribe to chime in after this satsang in the group and share any other pathways they're aware of. This is just one that we have personally benefited greatly from. And it leads into many other limbs, including meditation and so forth. I never seem to be able to meditate. What am I doing wrong? Nothing. Nothing at all. It is easy to reverse. It is easy to reverse this thinking that you cannot meditate. Your mind will quiet. You're doing nothing wrong. However, it is not easy to reverse years of being trained and conditioned to be overstimulated, frantic, and anxious. It takes time and consistency to truly meditate and release attachment to thought, to disconnect emotion from thought. Do not judge yourself, keep walking the path, and start in a reasonable place. Even if it's only 5 minutes first thing in the morning, sit up in bed, cross-legged, close the eyes, put one hand on the belly and one on the heart, and simply follow the movement of the abdomen. If thought comes in, go back to the movement of the abdomen. All you must do for the well-being of all life is to sit with yourself for 5 minutes following the rising and lowering of the abdomen. We personally have benefited from Japa Meditation, which we will share a link in the description if you are so inclined to research that method for yourself. I want to do new things, I want to create, I want to exercise, I want to start new habits. I start strong, but I end up going back to my old habits and getting distracted. Distracted by things like my phone, TV, and games. What can I do? The first step is to allow yourself to be as you are without judgment. We are often conditioned to feel the need to be doing, always running around, being what society calls productive. This often rolls over into conditioning to keep the mind busy and as such, most Americans rarely ever sit with themselves in silence without thought. The mind becomes agitated due to being trained to be overstimulated. We remember always having a TV ourselves or a Game Boy in front of us as kids to keep us occupied. It was considered normal to be in front of the TV for 8 hours a day in our house. Give oneself space to love self and accept self as is. We call it lack of awareness training, which had to be learned before awareness could be the difference between them, meaning distraction is lack of awareness training. Since one feels distracted, it is best acknowledged that we are conditioned to float around from what is considered distraction to distraction. Many call it entertainment, which is in itself a wonderful experience of creation. An example for us in our incarnation is video games. We have loved them from an early age, starting with Sonic the Hedgehog collecting rings on the Sega and moving to the present incarnations of gaming systems. We love them, we enjoy them. However, we play them much less often as we become more aware and are being fully with them more. In reality, if one is honest and aware in a place of awareness with a meditative mind, one realizes that a video game is literally simply the moving of fingers to shift images on a screen and release noises through a speaker. Often a storyline or other interesting mechanic results in the action. However, one step back and one can see their incarnational story is unfolding just the same as the story they are unfolding on the screen. And in their incarnational story, within reality, one is wiggling their thumbs and watching pictures move inside a box. However, we are conditioned to feel as though we are progressing and taking action, so our mind is satisfied, aka distracted. We again do not condemn this at all, for we still play them, yet we do it in a different state of mind rather than seeking distraction. We are seeking joy in the moment. We play it to unfold our highest joy in that moment. Yet when one considers their life, their beingness, TV becomes less desirable as distraction because one realizes they are always writing their life story, and while stories are instead being watched within a box, and rather than continue doing that, holding their attention in that box and quieting their spirit, one realizes that they are becoming like a zombie. And the only story that they are writing about themselves is the following. Lucid is sitting, lucid is staring, lucid is eating, lucid is staring, lucid is listening to another story again, and so forth. And while in this state we release identity with ourselves, which is often why it is so appealing to have distraction, it releases one from identity with themselves for a time. At least this has been our experience. And from this perspective, one becomes more willing, from the perspective of awareness, one becomes more willing to be with themselves, face themselves, drop the rock, and start writing their own story instead of watching somebody else's. Moving into desires to create, to move, to play, to learn, to grow, to get outside the walls around them, to participate in life. So recontextualize what one considers distractions. Become more aware of self, and start writing your story as you wish it to be. Write your own story. All the other stories are wonderfully beautiful. Entertainment is wonderful in itself. But you deserve to write your own story as you wish it to be. And we say truly here and now that if you write your story and become the one you desire to be within that story, all the powers of the universe will come together to support each step in your story's unfolding as it comes from a place of unity and love. How can I help you? Thank you so much for considering us. We love you. We appreciate you. We are full. We are whole. We are seen by all that is. We are held in loving spaciousness and caressed by light eternally. We have food, shelter, clean air, water, and love. We wake daily to heaven. Our only desire is for all to know that they are here with us. One can help simply by being loved, loving, and loved. Spread forgiveness and help unconditional love unfold in self and all of life. Be the lantern of light guiding us to unity which you are destined to be. Thank you. We love you. We see you. We know you. eternal blessings. Do you believe in reincarnation? We prefer it does not matter which we believe. In a world of beliefs, as it pertains to anyone, all that matters is simply that the beliefs bring them the highest joy possible. That said, beliefs are always applicable to change because they are beliefs and not truths. Beliefs simply help support one in the space and time they find themselves. However, true experience of truth will shine away all beliefs in the reality of truth. So we will share our truth, not our belief. For beliefs do not serve us in this space and time as we know ourselves. Reincarnation and eternal evolution is our truth. The body is the avatar for spirit or God or divinity or light or whichever name of the highest one would like to give to source love, which is all of life. To take birth in the physical realm, heaven, the Garden of Eden, aka Earth, in space and time, one must come from an eternal source of which we all do. There is no death, only life, only transformation of light, of essence from life to life. Sprinkled within it periods of full unity and rest. We know graveyards in the physical realm are equitable to junkyards for cars the body drives. They are junkyards for spirits' vehicles of exploration and creation in the physical realm of which bodies are. We are all in temporary cars, are incarnations, are vehicles of physical expansion and creation. All vessels hold the same light of which we come, as well as your astral or spirit body. And this goes for all seemingly individual creations all the way back to original source, where one finds that one is all and all is one. It is the filtering of one that leads to the wonderful incarnation of individuality at all. Layers of being, form and formless, all come from source, which is an eternal light and creates an eternity. Eternity is difficult for the individual mind in this realm to understand, for we in this physical experience often time lock ourselves outside of the eternal moment of now. For us it is always now, and the evolution is that of eternal creation. In this truth we no longer fear, we know death is non-existent, and we no longer see separation. We simply see God dancing with God in all its beautiful forms. Spirit dancing with spirit, love dancing with love. Only those who believe they are a physical body fear death and other life. We know only life eternal and only one light within all of light, which unfolds in the beautiful manifestation of the individual experience. Life is a blessing, and this is not our only nor our last vessel of which we will travel the unfolding of the garden's creations. And if you do not believe or know this is truth, we would simply ask that you consider it with an open mind and heart. It does not need to be your truth if you do not believe it. Again, truth will shine away all beliefs once they are found, once they are revealed in revelation, whatever it might be that comes to you. And just in case that you do not come back again down the road of time to visit physical eternal creation, might you still do things this time around to make it better for the next visit just in case, or for those that will visit after you? Blessings. We had a couple add-on questions for the Satsang. Why does the system seem stacked against light and love, aka unity? Excuse me. Excuse us. Ultimately, it is because we are evolving through the teachings and guidance of suffering and separation so that we find our divinity, enlightened love, of which we are always moving toward each time we open our heart and accept the teaching the world offers through this pathway of evolution. This said, we want to preface all answers with, no one ever is at fault for anything that are asleep, for we are still learning. It is a growth pathway to unlock our fullest self in unity, and that occurs one step at a time. Each individual is a very important part of the growth of all that is. We are essentially rebirthing heaven and divinity from scratch. It is no easy feat and deserves forgiveness and release at all moments until we reach that unity. For in that place forgiveness is forgotten entirely, for only love exists, and nothing that occurs in this place could ever require the need for forgiveness and true unity and love. This is a question that has a very simple and short answer. However, the context around it could be discussed for days. The simple short is lack of truth, trust, and love. To prevent a lengthy contextual answer, let's simply talk within the structure of healthcare. Let's talk within the judicial system, actually, as it will be shorter and easier to see. Let's start with a lawyer, often paid to defend. Defense itself is not necessary in unity, for all are loving and giving. Lawyers are paid to defend. The entire structure of being paid and money itself is a root of separation in such systems. For who would need to sue if not for the structure of ownership and me versus you, yours versus mine? But alright, so lawyers are paid to defend. For example, a corporate lawyer is often set to defend a corporation or their actions that are truly attacks on the public, such as environmental damage, pollution, and so forth. A corporation is an entity often built to separate. They lay claim of ownership to the natural Garden of Eden, which is many billion years older than any corporation that exists. I would ask you to name one American corporation that is more than 250 years old. It is simply impossible because the country itself, the incorporation of the country itself, did not occur until 1776. And as a country is definitely a structure for separation like a corporation. How is it that a corporation that is not even 250 years old can own the billion-year-old garden and has a right to build walls and kick itself out of itself? Itself which it considers different than itself due to the illusion of separation. Think on this when you have a moment. Think on this. How can a corporation of a country that is no more than 250 years old lay claim to something that took billions of years to manifest? That structure within itself has been a guiding light in evolution, but it is not our eternal destiny to be separated in such a way. Next, we have judges who are paid to issue judgment. A function of that is only of spirit. Only spirit has the true ability to condemn. For only spirit is the one who should ever cast the first stone. But the spirit will never cast the first stone, for spirit lives only in a state of eternal love. Its only judgment ever will be is to love all and to give freely. And when all loves all, that is what is known as the final judgment in religion, because from this place no more judgment exists. That's why it's called the final judgment, because there are no more judgments after the final judgment. And when love is all that exists, no separation exists, there are no more judgments that will ever occur. It's very simple. Next, we have those that navigate the system and play different roles within it. The police, the criminal, the bystander, the victim, and so forth. These are all labels of separation. The system is designed to separate us for them for us. Condemnation is a function of man-made illusion only. It is the action of issuing judgment and punishment. The system itself is designed to separate and condemn, to eventually teach us not to separate and condemn as we witness all the suffering it creates. It is a teaching pathway. It is an evolutionary pathway. For example, the structure of money leads to the creation of litigation to protect oneself from not losing money, to prevent what they own from being stolen, and to prevent their body from being damaged by others, which we needed to have to evolve from animalistic behaviors. It's all been a blessing in our evolution. It needed to happen for us to get to a point where we could release it. Yet it itself is ready for another evolution. The concept of damage and theft and ownership are simply results of separation. We know we talk about separation a lot, but this is because it is the literal root of all suffering. Unity is the solution to blissful and joyful creation in eternity. All are whole, all are loved, all are known, all are seen. So, how is truth, trust, and love the solution? In a world of more truth, we do not need lawyers to protect the untruthful. We have so many trying to sue and defend and protect visibility of their actions because many feel the need to lie and deceive. In a world without deceit and untruthfulness, many lawyers become obsolete. And that is a wonderful thing for them and the world. They are free to become love and light and instead of carrying the burdens of the system. That said, many in these roles are awakened and simply carry their dharma in the pathway of evolution, and they love all through all they encounter, even though they understand what they have seen and have to perpetuate through as we continue to evolve. But they also know in their awakeness that we are evolving and moving towards a world in which it will not be necessary for that role to participate any longer in time. In a world of more trust, we would not need litigation to protect ourselves from each other, to help ensure others are honest and trustworthy through contractual agreements. In a world of unity, all are honest and see no need for untruthfulness and taking advantage of another because they recognize all as themselves. And who would want to deceive themselves in loving awareness? It's not possible. It just simply doesn't exist. In a world of more love, we have no judicial system at all, because all supports all as self, and no condemnation is available, only loving acceptance. There's no need to rob in a world of which all wealth is shared. No need to invade a home in which is open to all, but all already have a home. So when it's shared equally, in a sense, when it's all provided, when it's all not separated. Again, we've mentioned in our last Satsang, there's enough food on the planet to feed 1.5 times the population, yet because due to the desire for profit over people, it is separated. Same for the homelessness. We have apartments that are empty, complexes that are half empty, with homeless sitting right out in front of them. It's silly. Everybody can see that it's silly. And again, if everybody has their basic needs and they're provided and loved equally, they're seen, they're solved, they're heard, they're uplifted together, there's no need for NDAs or contracts, because all is honest and truthful at their core and could never be anything else. Because the reward system in that world of unity is not promoted by deceit. It is promoted by love and light, unity of all, not the illusion of imaginary borders and paper slips of which we give our value to. On a map that make... On a map, there are borders drawn and given names that make the same thing, that make one thing seem as though it is different. The same people, the same love, the same light believe they are something different because of borders drawn on a map. There are no borders in reality. Earth is one home. We have made these constructs in our evolution. They have been necessary in our evolution, but we are ready to transcend them. Essentially, truth, trust, and love leads to the dissolution of all things that separate, including the system which one sees as stacked against unity, as is your question. It is definitely stacked against unity because that has been the evolution of evolving through the suffering of separation. Once enough suffering has been experienced, one sees that the only solution is to come together for all in the light of love. We are moving in the right direction always. Do not worry, dear friend. No need to worry about any of the odds or stacking of anything, for unity is inevitable. In a sense, the odds are stacked for unity. Another question we added on: what can you say on immigration and ICE from the perspective of love? Avoiding opinion, we will speak only our truth. And what we see from our truth is many people are stuck in animal consciousness. For example, how does a dog react when someone comes into their territory? They bark, they chase, they bite, becoming loud and aggressive. It does not matter if the visitor brings gifts for the master, they still bark, and they bark until their master calms them down or they see no reason to bark anymore. A human that does this barks at others, asking them, "Why are you here?" telling them to leave or they will hurt them or bite them. No matter asking if they are loving or not considering them as a human at all, simply objectifying them based on their origin of birth, which is earth in reality. All of us are birthed in earth in reality, and simply hating the object of which is ultimately rooted in fear. How is this a human behaving any differently than a dog? But who is the master that can calm the dog? None but love and light, or what many call God. However, in the realm of eternal creation and evolution of the species, God has given free rein to the individual. God influence, Spirit's influence, love's influence, none outside of offering them life and sustenance. Spirit always has open arms for those who seek it in love, yet forces no one. This is evolution. For human is Spirit's avatar, as is the dog, but the dog does not have human capacities. So the only one who can improve themselves are the humans themselves. Spirit will leave treats and breadcrumbs to follow, but it is us who must follow them to divinity or sink back into the animal nature from which we are attempting to evolve from. Each of us has a choice. From the homeless to ICE to the president to all in the world. Will you return as a dog in eternity to learn lessons again, or will you become the God within you? For God is dog backwards. Turn 180 degrees and chase divinity, not the illusion of immigrants. How could there be immigrants in a world of unity without borders? There are no immigrants here. That is an illusion of borders and flags. We have all been born into earth, into heaven, into the garden without exception. And it is okay if one is not ready to evolve and understand that just yet, to see the truth in that. There will always be more doggy treats, dog houses, chain link fences, kibbles and bits. There will always be the option for you to suffer more. It is our choice to keep going back to the boiling pot or not. Or drop the rock and evolve into divinity. We had a little dog once. Anytime someone or something he did not know came close to his territory, he would bark and bark and bark. However, when someone got close enough to him and showed him love and compassion, petting him and adoring him, he started to whimper instead of bark, because he now no longer feared them but rather loved them. Be a lover, not a divider. We all desire to be loved and release fear. But fear and separation can be, scary and separating. Become love and give to all, and the barking will eventually quiet and turn into tears of joy. This is the way. And again, we only speak from perspectives we know of, and the Christians of the world in which we have been are well to remember this comes from the Word of God, the Bible. Leviticus 19:33-34. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as you love yourself, for you are foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. One more time, Leviticus 19:33-34, quote from the Bible, "When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God," unquote. This is right out of the Bible. Those who swear by the Bible, the people of God, from this perspective, should never shun anyone for anything. Certainly not for the location they were born in, for this is directly sinning according to their belief. This is directly going against the Lord your God. We are not getting political or religious in this next statement at all, merely sharing our truth. We know that our president, whom encourages the separation of immigrants and the enforcing team known as ICE, identifies as Christian. To this we simply say that so many get caught up in separation that they use the true words of Christ or Spirit as a false pathway to seem more acceptable to society and ultimately deceive themselves and others. Behind closed doors, or in some cases very publicly, they contradict exactly what they claim. The world of separation is full of contradictions and false fronts. It is simply a continuation of the mask of separation. We do not condemn again, for we know sin is not existent and we know evolution is ensured. We simply wish for all to be honest and love all. We know our president as ourself. We know that he holds the same light as all of us. He entered this world as an innocent child, all the same as us. He is not separate from us and is simply moving forward in the world he has experienced as he knows it in the best way he knows to serve. As far as we are concerned, he has been one of the largest catalysts to date for our evolution. And with an open heart and mind, one can see many people are coming together in the name of love and humanity in the space he has fostered for such to occur. Going back to our, for example, the No Kings movement, we're seeing the desire to be more free, to be more open, to be more loving. Going back to our discussion from the previous satsang on the pendulum swing of evolution from dark to light, we often need someone to pull the pendulum back for us so it can swing forward. Knowing this, we see the highest in him and appreciate his playing of his role perfectly. When one has reached a place where everyone can be loved as themselves, there is no longer fear. They can no longer suffer, and they can step back far enough to see the big picture of evolution towards unity. The heart can stay open and stay open through all because they know all as themselves and is able to forgive and love unconditionally. These hearts, one at a time, are helping us do exactly what we came here to do. Unfold the rebirthing of heaven on earth. A true blessing of light are the ones who open themselves through all sufferings to transform hell into heaven. The bridge from dark to light is very short in truth. It is just one flick of the dial of perspective. Fear is released forever for the soul that knows this is truth. Love all, serve all, remember our home in unity. And this itself is really very easy when one is done with suffering, as one eventually realizes in complete truth that anything they do to another, they only do to themselves. Thank you for the question. Blessings. We have, dear friends and family, come to the end of our question segment, and we would like to move forward in a heart blessing and sending of love as we move into the end of Satsang. If able and willing, please ground yourself as you are. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes if accessible. Place your physical or astral hand on your heart space. Feel your heartbeat. Tune into your heartbeat. Repeat the following as you stay connected to your heart space. Dear heart of mine, you are loved and full of love. You are safe and eternally whole. We remember our unity. Keeping the eyes closed, take a moment to send loving light to someone in your life that needs it most. Visualize this individual as an innocent child with open arms receiving your heart opening and mind healing love energy. Send your love to them now in the form of light. Thank you so much for being here. You are a beautiful beacon of light, and your love moves the world closer to unity each day. We will now extinguish the candle, remove the mask, and exit the circle of unity. As always, you are never outside the circle of unity. This is, of course, just a practice to bring us together in Satsang. Woo. Oh, wonderful. Whew. Let's talk briefly about being a little better than before. Tonight's better than before is a simple yet powerful charging and grounding practice. We call it the sun gazing meditation. The only requirements for this practice is access to sunlight and earth. Essentially, one finds a comfortable place to sit outdoors, take off their shoes, and place their bare feet on the ground. Real live ground, soil and grass, no cement. It is even better if you have a secluded spot that you can dig a hole in the ground and bury your feet for the practice. Finding your spot to meditate, a spot that has direct sun contact to your face, with your body to earth contact through your feet. Close your eyes and turn to the sun. Visualize roots going deep into the core of the earth, and visualize your face as a flower absorbing the sun's beautiful light. Reflect your beauty back to the sun in appreciation. Attempt to reach a place of no thought outside of pure appreciation for the earth and sun. Grounding into the earth while receiving charges from the sun, continue this way for 5 to 15 minutes. We will share a link to the practice verbalized a little more that we created for this specific practice in the comment descriptions. Blessings, eternal love, light, joy, creation, expansion to you. Thank you so much for being here with us. With love always, Love Lucid. After the end of our first satsang, we had a little bit of a dancing moment, which you may have caught or may not have caught, and have decided that that is actually the perfect way for us to release some of the energy that we hold during the satsang. It's a good way to shake it off and move into a new moment without carrying any of that. A good way to help us drop the rock. That said, if you'd like to join us for a little dance, feel free to hang out. If not, until next time. Here is a single from one of our albums we released recently. Will you dance with us?
See with your inner eye, dancing through dimensions as your spirit flies high. See with your inner eye, see through the physical eye, unlock the hidden truth, let your consciousness rise. Pineal activation, move into the frequencies of soul elevation. See with your inner eye, beyond what seems real, dance into the visions that your spirit can feel. See with your inner eye, feel the mystic sacred light. See with your inner eye, see with your inner eye, see with your inner eye. Dancing the physical side. See with your inner eye. See with your inner eye. Spiritual awakening, spiritual awakening. Through the house vibration, our souls are partaking. Spiritual awakening, spiritual awakening. This is the rhythm that keeps us shaking. Move with the wisdom, move with the flow. Feel the ancient knowledge, let your insight grow. See with your inner eye, perceive what's unseen. Dance into the astral, live the lucid dream. Open your third eye. Open your third eye. See the truth, feel the light. Open your third eye. Open your third eye. Open your third eye. Close your two eyes. Dance with the inner side. Open your third eye tonight. See with your inner side, see with your inner side.
Peace and love. Always.